Hello and welcome to Huddersfield Town Extra Time. I'm pleased today to be joined by Mel Booth and Leon Wobschall, both local journalists extraordinaire. Thanks as ever to Sportsbroker as well for making the show possible. Mel, if we start with you, professional job by Town, got the job done, into the hat for the next round tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I mean, difficult conditions to play in for both teams. I mean, it was horrendous, really, the wind and the rain, but it was a really entertaining cup tie, despite that. And the important thing for Town is, A, they've got through, which is brilliant and earns us a fifth round place. And B, it keeps the confidence going with the 12-match unbeaten run now, which is fantastic at this stage of the season, with a great league position already in the bag and then a big cup draw hopefully to come. So there's been a lot of positives today, especially with a few new names on the team sheet as well. People have got valuable minutes, either in the starting lineup or coming on as subs. And yeah, a great outcome for Town. I think they'll be very, very pleased about today's performance and also the result.
Yeah, you mentioned the wind and rain. That's why I've got this wonderful Naby Shah hat on. I don't want to show you my hat hair underneath it. It's shocking. But Leon, the performance was sort of was stunted because Barnsley made 3 changes at halftime and started to get back into the game a little bit more after the break, to give them the credit. But Town, regardless, still seemed quite comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever I see Huddersfield, I see whatever defensive combination, the defenders who actually like defending. I know that sounds something quite simplistic, but I think on a day and an afternoon like today, terrible conditions, wind and rain, it was about safety first, doing your jobs, putting your head in where it hurts. And Huddersfield were nice and disciplined all game. I mean, Barnsley had a hell of a lot of the ball in the second half, but they just didn't really do anything with it aside from the chance at the end of the game. But yeah, I mean, obviously doing extremely well in the league, Town, and they've got obviously far better squad options than last season, and having a good cup run sits well with them, and they can change things around as they have done today. I think they made something like 8 changes. They made 7 for the Burnley game, and there's not necessarily that loss of strength. You still know what you're going to get with Huddersfield, and with a goal today was just that little bit of quality, wasn't it, in the game? And lovely finish from Dwayne Holmes, good work from Sober Thomas and Josh Karoma, and it was a quality moment, but it's more of an afternoon really for digging in and doing the job. And Huddersfield did that, and deservedly through to the fifth round.
Yeah, I think somebody that sort of epitomises that performance is Matty Pearson at the back, who was captain today, given the changes and first-time captain in the side. With the wind, the rain, the amount of high balls that Barnsley were putting in, Leon, he was a perfect defender for the conditions and the occasion.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke before, haven't we, about that sound recruitment that Huddersfield did last summer. Not just getting good players, but getting good characters who you can rely on, and it was a Matty Pearson sort of day, wasn't it? Really, a day for not being over elaborate, just doing your job. A good strong 7 out of 10, and I think he's been a pretty good signing for Town, hasn't he? He obviously chips in with goals at the other end as well. I mean, he got all the glory against Burnley from a goal scoring perspective in the last round, but an important contribution this afternoon as well. And there were some solid contributions around him as well. I don't know what Mel thinks. I thought young Russell was very strong in the first half, and it'd just been nice if he'd have got that goal at the end. Yeah,
give him the chance. And in the middle there, I mean, he's quite an imposing character. Big lad, we know that. Doesn't suffer challenges easily, does he? Just brushes people off. And he's got a good touch on the ball for a big fella. He's got good awareness, good vision, uses the ball well, and particularly in the first half, as Leon pointed out, he was very influential for Town. And it's a shame he was still going strong at the end, obviously, and had that chance right at the end, which would have been fantastic if he could have tucked it away. But at the beginning of the second half, he just got pushed a little bit deeper, and Barnsley got the press on, didn't they? And they made it difficult for us for 20, 25 minutes in the second half. I think Kitchen particularly was pushing forward. The big lad who they brought on, Morris, at half time, big presence for them. So, these are difficult people to be up against in difficult conditions. And as Leon rightly pointed out earlier, you need defenders who are keen on doing the job and not hiding and not shirking the duties. And we saw from Town today a really, really well marshalled defensive performance, and Matty Pearson was at the heart of that. But John Russell will have taken a lot out of today, and I'm sure the club will, seeing what he can achieve in the middle of a side like this. And I thought the substitution, when Lewis O'Brien came on, that sort of helped John out a little bit. And I thought we got a little bit more of a grip with Sinani and Lewis O'Brien on. And it was nice to be able to see it out as they did. I'm sure Barnsley are going away feeling a little bit aggrieved, having had the ball in the net, but it was fairly obvious foul to me. And when you look at the chances that, we've had, the goal itself, Karoma broke away in the first half and just overran it when it would have been one-on-one. Yeah. At the end with Russell, Danny Ward hit the post. Sober Thomas had a good shot saved. There have been more than enough chances that they were the deserved winners.
Yeah, I think the sort of goal at the end, Mel, can probably mask it a little bit for Barnsley. Most of the chances came for Town, didn't they? Obviously, they got the first half one, the other couple of chances in the first half and in the second as well. It's just the game management that's very impressive, isn't it? There was obviously a spell when Barnsley's substitutes, Morris and Benson in particular, did well when they came on. They forced Town back, but there was no panic, were there? They sort of kept on message, doing the jobs, and they finished the game very strongly in the last 15 minutes. If anyone was probably going to get a second goal, it was Town. Obviously, Danny Wall went close as well, hitting the post. So obviously 1-0 a tight scoreline, but it was it was a relatively comfortable, I thought, for Town in the end.
I think Jamal Blackman will have benefited a lot from 10 minutes as well, having come into the club and getting an immediate chance to play and show that he's very, very competent and capable backup for Lee Nichols. He hasn't really had a save to make today, which probably tells you and sort of highlights exactly what you're saying, Leon, about the fact that Barnsley may be flattered to deceive when they get in the final third. But not an easy day for keepers or defenders.
No.
And I'm sure Jamal will be very happy to have got that 90 minutes and a clean sheet under his belt.
Yeah, and it's good for the lads. Obviously, they're utilising the squad, Mel, and the other likes of Josh Ruffles getting a chance. We talked about Russell, and obviously they might not necessarily start, in league games, but they must, with this cup run goes on, you feel like you're contributing, don't you? And there's something there for them. So, it all adds to the squad unity and the camaraderie, which we all know is very strong anyway at Huddersfield this season.
I would say that Josh Ruffles really is putting his hat in the ring for league selection. To be quite honest, there's pressure on for that slot on the left hand side there, because he was getting forward really well, in particularly as the back were on, and he was putting great service into the box. Won't have gone unnoticed. So I think the guy is really throwing his hat in the ring, having got a start. He was maybe not quite as involved first half.
Yeah.
Certainly as the match wore on, he certainly caught the eye with some very productive raids down the side.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want sort of, competition in all places. It's all healthy, isn't it, really? Players pushing each other, in games and training. Yeah.
You two can come on more often. I don't have to do anything when you two are here just talking to each other. It's brilliant for me. You can tell you've spent a good few years in the press boxes across Yorkshire together. I think you've touched really nicely there on the lads who have played today, but I think equally for Town, with obviously a lot to play for in the league still, it's just as important the lads who haven't played, and it's probably right to highlight them. Jonathan Hoggs had a day of rest. Lee Nichols has been on the bench, a rare thing for him. There's plenty of them who even have done a half rather than a full game, or just, you know, we're there or thereabouts. That Harry Toffolo, another one where they haven't had to play. They've got a big game away at Preston in midweek, which is somewhere that Town famously have an absolutely shocking record. And then, you know, in a week's time, then Sheffield United at home, another derby against the South Yorkshire side. These games are coming thick and fast, and they're important matches as well that Town need to keep stacking up. Is it a good thing that the squad allows those players who are more likely to play in the big league games the chance to have a break, have a rest, and recuperate a bit more extra than they would do otherwise, Mel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it can't do any harm whatsoever. You know, that's what the squad is for. And I think we've said more than once this season that there is genuine cover now around this entire team. There is proper, genuine cover pretty much for every position, and some extras thrown in as well. And I think it's a great position for Carlos Corberán to find himself in. As you rightly mentioned, there are some tough games coming up, and there are only a few days between them. So, yeah, I think it's brilliant that the injury situation as it is. Let's hope that Pippa having to go off today isn't anything that's too serious. I know Danny Schofield said that he thinks he'll be going for a scan just to be on the safe side. But, you know, that we've got a very, very strong squad at the moment at just the right time in the season. And people keep saying to me, oh, yeah, but Town have played 2 games more than them and 1 game more than them. Doesn't matter.
No.
On the board, and the pressure's on those people who are chasing.
Yeah, there's obviously the lad from Chelsea who'll come in as well further down the line as well when he's obviously fully rehabilitated as well. I mean, I just think it's great to see. I think as well, the lads who came in today who made an impact, the Josh Ruffles, the Russells. I think, you know, the senior lads will be so pleased for them as well. I think there's that genuine part of it at Huddersfield. Everyone's pleased for each other. They're doing well and they're contributing. And, you know, it's just really healthy, isn't it? I mean, you look at things like the number of goal scorers I've had this season, something like 13 or 14 different ones. And, you know, that all speaks about the sort of unity, camaraderie and sharing the load. And, yeah, it's been one of the really good facets to see of a really promising season.
One thing that I'm interested in hearing your two's opinion on is obviously there's been a lot of harking back to the season that Town were promoted in that 2016-17 period, and there's a lot of similarities between the two sides in terms of the atmosphere around the club, the you know, unity with the fans. Mel, that's something we've touched on previously that's perhaps been missing for a couple of years on the back of that, you know, second season in the Premier League and then those first 2 years back in Championship. The way they reacted at full time with the crowd, that was a welcome return and a nice thing to see, isn't it? That we've been building towards that kind of moment where the team and the fans come together.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it, to see, you know, and it was just very Wagner-esque, wasn't it? You know, they were up there all doing the cheering, the fans were loving it. And, you know, they've given great support today. There were a lot here from Barnsley as well. And it was a good atmosphere throughout, an entertaining game. But it was good to see because the fans have had 3 years really of a lot of hard knocks to take, and it's been 3 difficult years to watch Huddersfield Town Football Club. But, you know, the green shoots are there now. You can really feel that something is starting to emerge from it. And because that 2017 finish to the season is still fresh in people's minds, they're bound to draw parallels, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you know, that's the point you make. You know, you're up there challenging for a top 6 position. And if you get in the top 6, anything can happen. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that there's real camaraderie in the squad. Danny Schofield said everyone is pulling together. Everyone feels the same way about the working environment at this football club. And you know, it's a great situation to be in at this stage of the season when it really counts. Between now and the end of the season, a lot of hard games to play, and it's when some teams will fall away for sure, and others will go on. And Town, I think, are in a good position to make a strong finish.
Yeah, I think it reflects very well on the recruitment department as well, Mel, doesn't it? Obviously, headed by Lee Bromby. You know, it was, you know, real good sense in bringing a lot of the players come in quite early, didn't they, in the summer? Bring them in to integrate into the club, and obviously, assimilate with how Carlos wants the team to play and get him used to all the methods. It's all part of it. Good players, good characters, and like you say, after a couple of difficult years, there's something building again, and it's healthy. The dressing room's strong again, and it's encouraging times to the Huddersfield town again, and the supporters know what they get from the players. It might not be necessarily brilliant every week, but there's an honesty and there's a resolve there that the everyday fan can really appreciate straight away, which is often half the battle.
I think the fans are delighted as well, and that there were no departures in the window, and that a lot of people have said that was just as important as getting the lad in from Chelsea and getting the backup and getting Carol Eiting back. Brings a touch of class to the place as well. Carol Eiting always finds space naturally, and uses the ball so well. And as much as those key signings, not losing some of the players who we all knew they are, was a real bonus for the fans. Real bonus for the fans.
Absolutely.
And they're all buying into what could be a fantastic finish to the season.
Yeah, it's set up the second half of the season, this business end of the season, really well, hasn't it? If we have a bit of fun before we call it a day, obviously the draw's tomorrow morning. Who do you two fancy in that one? Is it a big team at home, big team away, winnable game at home? What do you fancy, Mel?
I want the worst team in the competition.
Fair enough. What about yourself, Leon?
I can see what Mel's saying, because obviously we had a big gun in Manchester United went out on Friday, and if one or two, Arsenal went as well in the previous round. If one or two go in this round, and then in the next round there's a couple of big hitters get drawn together, it could open up for an EFL side to potentially, get into the like a semi-final or something. We talked about Barnsley today. They famously did that. I think it was 2008, I think. So I sort of get what Mel's saying. A lesser light at home would be just a ticket, really. Huddersfield have a certain, they're a side who aren't complacent. I'm sure they wouldn't switch off if they got a side from a League One, something like that. They'd still want to get the job done. So I think I'd probably agree with Mel. Really, you save the big ones until later.
Okay, well, 100 years on from winning the cup, I think you two have got your eyes on making that a second one by the sounds of it. So, touch wood. We'll see what comes out of that tomorrow morning, and hopefully it's a good draw for us. Thank you two for your time as ever and your analysis, and thanks to Sportsbroker as ever for making the show possible. And we'll speak to you all ahead of the Preston game on Wednesday night, I think it is.